tag number and get a description of what that person looks like and report that to the sheriff's office. They will investigate it, go out, talk to the person, likely issue a citation, and if it goes to court and they plead guilty or are found guilty, that citizen will receive a $100 reward. And that's an aggressive step to try to curb some of this littering. We've got it in the budget from the standpoint of solid waste to be able to do this for the remainder of this fiscal year. So if you see somebody littering, help us all be garbage cops. Help us all be garbage cops. Sheriff's Department might get a lot of calls. We hope they do. There's some of them that they'll be able to investigate and move forward with. Some they may not be. But we need more garbage cops out there, and this program will create that. So we live in a beautiful place, and we want to see it remain beautiful. And it can't remain beautiful with people throwing their McDonald's bags and their coffee cups out the window. So please, don't do it, because if you do that, someone's probably watching you do it, and they want that $100, I would bet.
Could you give me that second KRS again?
Yes. KRS 512070 relates to criminal littering, and KRS 433.757 gives us the ability to create a program to pay rewards for the giving of information leading to the conviction of any person, firm, or corporation that is in violation of 512070.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like us? Does that sound good to you?
I would applaud you.
Social distance.
Okay, so we're not gonna reflect our cleanup weeks right now because of the situation with the pandemic, but we are gonna implement this program effective immediately related to reporting of criminal littering or illegal dumping. And also call the Sheriff's Office at 573-1313, or you can call our office at 573-2600 to speak to Mr. Pelosi, or the Recycling Center, Solid Waste Department at 573-9423. So there's 3 outlets to report this. Of course, the Sheriff's Department's gonna help investigate it, but those are the 3 avenues that criminal littering or illegal dumping needs to be reported to. Yeah, so we've got a motion by Mr. Middleton and a second by Mr. Brown. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'll brag on too, between Tony and Mike, there's been 2 or 3 incidents in District 3 that have been resolved in a very timely manner with no real issue, just took care of the problem. That's ultimately what you want.
We want it resolved.
Problem resolved.
That's right. Item 20 would be to reflect, we're not going to reflect these, Donna, obviously because of the situation. Item 21 will be discuss litter cleanup and pride cleanup month schedule. Kind of just did that, but we're going to hold off on announcing a schedule. We're just going to bump everything probably until May, depending on what happens with this pandemic. But we will discuss this at our next court meeting related to what happens with everything else that's going on in the world. Item 22 is to approve advertising for White Beach Sand, which is, I want to defer to Chad on for a minute, because last year it seems like the sand wasn't actually white, and then furthermore, we may be able to haul that ourselves now.
Yeah, yeah, we can actually pick it up now from the same location that they're bidding it. I think what happened last year is we bid a White Beach sand, and they quote got a cheaper sand, and the color was not correct.
Tan.
Yeah, and so we can, actually pick it up and actually get what we want, and we won't spend. Oh, and since they raised the bid threshold, we won't be close to where we need to bid that.
Okay, and that's what he's referring to, the state raised the bid threshold from $20,000 to $30,000. So with that threshold, the hauling expense is gonna be on us, and the sand expense, we wouldn't be paying someone else to haul. So So you feel like that we could go ahead and proceed to get a quote
Yes.
and not advertise this at this time?
Right.
Okay. Does anyone have a problem with that? Maybe we'll have to save some money on that.
Gives us the ability, we don't have to get it all at once either, we can get it.
Correct.
in Different increments or
Yeah.
as needed.
Yeah, and
Different
it's,
levels and amounts.
correct, and the erosion, there's been a lot of erosion at Martinsville Lake due to the rising of the water. I know they're gonna need sand, usually get 250 tons, I think.
Yeah.
So, that's something we need to go ahead and proceed to order. Okay, we're not gonna advertise. So what occurred with the brick dust? Did we get that ordered?
We did get it ordered. I didn't pick it up because I wasn't sure about if there was gonna have Little League this year, so I didn't know if you all actually wanted to continue on with it or not, but I did order it and I got a PO, we just not went.
If we order it, do we have room to store it in a salt bin?
It would, yes, I could probably combine a salt bin and make that work.
Okay. I would recommend going ahead and acquiring it and storing it there. It's my understanding that Little League Baseball has been pushed to at least April 6th. It may get pushed longer than that and go into the summer. It may not happen at all, we don't know. But at some point in time, even if Little League doesn't occur, it'd be nice to get these fields ready so that the kids can go out and have sandlot games.
Yeah.
So, we'll just proceed to go ahead and get it, should it be needed, because at some point it will be. So, we will table advertising for White Beach Sand Dome. Item 23 is approval to advertise for asphalt.
Make a motion.
Something told me them two would be the ones that. Motion's made by James Howard and seconded by Clark Middleton to advertise for asphalt. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 24 is approval to advertise for road salt, and this is something we do this time every year related to the reverse bidding through CAECO, so I recommend we proceed on with that.
I get that before you
Okay. Motion by Bill Moore, second by Paul Brown. Any discussion? Certainly haven't had to use much salt this year again.
Thank
That's 2
goodness.
years in a row.
Make the motion to do it through CAECO first bid.
Okay, and we'll go ahead and amend that to say, if you're okay with that, to advertise through the CAECO reverse bidding
Right.
process. Okay. Donna, you got that? Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 25 is to discuss the coal iron park. Just want to open this up for discussion. James is aware of this, it's in his district. Where the coal iron park is located, have any of you all ever been there? Do you know where this is at? Okay, so what street is that on?
Not sure, it's actually on two.
Yeah, kind of intersects Sycamore and Walnut, maybe? I can't remember.
I think it's,
So, the park down there serves as a community cold iron. A lot of people use it. I've been down there a lot for events. They do some big things throughout the year, Easter egg hunts, Halloween, get-togethers. I don't think they did a Halloween. This was the first year they hadn't done it. It was because there was a death, I think, in the family that usually puts that together. We have a basketball court, we have a playground, we have a shelter house. What else is down there? Is there a walking track?
small.
Small,
Yeah.
yeah. So we have all those things on that park. The land was donated.
It's fenced into.
Yeah, the land, I won't say donated, the land, the property owner allowed the fiscal court to construct a park there 10 years ago,
At least.
maybe 12 years ago, I don't know the exact date, it was well before I became judge. The property owner has now indicated that he is starting to liquidate some of his assets, and he is desiring to sell that land for whatever the appraised value is. It's kind of a catch-22 for us because we got a park there, and people expect to be able to utilize that park for recreation.
Just right in the center, you mean, right in the center of the community also.
Yes, it is.
Walking distance, right.
Yeah. So it's very heavily used. You know, are you all interested in moving forward with getting an appraisal to see what the land's worth? Or what I was saying is the landowner has decided to liquidate assets and is looking to sell that property where the park is located. And if we don't acquire it and it's sold, someone that buys it may decide they don't want to park there, and then we're faced with relocating playgrounds.
We have it leased now, don't we?
We have it leased, yes. And, you
There's a
know,
lot of value of equipment there also.
yeah, ball, like I said, ball court, playground, shelter house, picnic tables, walking area,
Multi-purpose gym, park set too.
Yeah.
Know what those cost today.
yeah. So, that may be necessary to look at acquiring it, because if it were acquired by someone else, they may decide they don't want to park there, or may want to lease it to us for an exorbitant amount. So, and I think the community really enjoys that park.
It is.
Of course, we would have to do an appraisal on the land to see what it come in at. We can't pay more than the appraised price anyway, so.
And that would need to be not as is, but absent our,
As
for lack of a
an
better, trade fixtures.
just raw
The
land.
improvements we made to it,
Right,
if that'd be possible.
right, raw land.
What did the lease say when we first got it? I mean,
It's very simple lease, as the county's words at that time, it's like $1 a year, just for
no
liability.
time limit on
We generally haven't, I want to say there was an exclusionary standard provision that either party can opt out at
At
any
any
time.
moment, yeah.
it. Maybe we could just approach that individual and out of goodness his heart, donate that to the county.
Well, we could certainly ask.
I've already asked.
You've already
I
asked,
had a feeling you
Very
might.
willing to take the price, whatever the price is for.
whatever the price is for, yeah. Okay.
I don't mind doing it and doing it like what Fred was saying, what it would be without.
The raw, just raw land, appraise it as raw land.
But, because if it is terminated, we, you know, our stuff's not permanent, we can take it up. I
Correct.
mean, I know that's, somewhat destructive if you're talking about a ball court or something, but we salvage what we salvage, we can use it as fill or whatever.
Sure. About 2 acres.
I'm not sure of the acreage that Judge is good sized park.
Is he willing to take what it would appraise, you think?
I think so. He just indicated that, I think he's looking to liquidate some assets. He's got some family that lives in like a few hours away, and they may be looking to, you know, get some type of property out there, or be near family, and still maintain residence here, but be able to visit family in another area, and we're looking to sell some stuff. So, you know, the last thing I would want, and I appreciate the courtesy of him coming and talking to us about it rather than just listening for sale and somebody, because what's happened before in this county years ago is people would sell stuff that we had encumbered, leased, and make it hard for us to get. Somebody would buy it and the price would go up exponentially because the county might be interested in it. I appreciate the landowner for not doing that and giving us the first option to acquire.
Would it be appropriate, Judge, to get an appraisal and then do a final vote on it at the next meeting?
I would, if you want to put it in the form of a motion, I would say appraisal and title.
I do.
Okay. Motion to approve to get an appraisal and title opinion on the land that is being proposed to be sold at the Gold Iron Park. You want to read back what I said?
Well, to get an appraisal and a title opinion on the Cold Park.
Okay, that's good, that's
That's
good,
what you can.
that's
I
good.
guess that's one.
All right. Motion by James Harrison, second by Jim Raleigh.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
Judge,
Yes.
it says something like 20,000 to maybe get built to that thing.
That was his first question to me too, and I think he indicated to the judge that he'd just be willing to take it.
I told him that he didn't quote a price to me. he told me that, or after he told me he was looking to sell it, I said, well, I don't know what you want for it, but, you know, we would have to get an appraisal and a title opinion and whatever the appraisal indicated. But it was my understanding that he had set a price to others of $20,000. I don't know if it'll appraise for that or not, but he had quoted a price, I think, to the road foreman and a couple of you all. I'd heard through the grapevine that it may be being proposed, so I just was very clear with him that we could not pay more than appraised price. So if it appraises for 15, he wants 20, we can pay 15. If he wants 20 and appraises for 25, we'll pay 20. So that's how you all want to move forward. Yeah.
I'll need somebody to get me the deed,
Yeah, I think you're.
because I don't, again, I'm fuzzy on my memory specifically, but I don't think we referenced it exactly. I think we just called it the
Sure.
Lone Park, so.
Sure.
I would need that exactly to know what it is we're looking at.
Sure. Okay, get a copy of that. It was saved by Jim Roddy. Any further discussion on that? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We've already taken action on item 26. Item 27 is to discuss the restrictive covenants for the Harlan County Business Park and take necessary action. And I'll defer to Mr. Kirk before I do. These restrictive covenants were proposed to the Harlan County Economic Development Authority a few months ago. They took time to review them, had some questions, but in the end recommended approval of them, and recommended the fiscal court move forward with approval. But I'll let you kind of talk about that, Colby.
Yeah, so most industrial sites across the state have some type of zoning in place that kind of prevents certain developments happening within that property. Since we don't have countywide zoning in Harlan County, the way that we have to do that is through a deed restriction. And so I used a model of deed restrictions that they've used out in Bowling Green for one of their industrial parks, and I kind of cut some things out of it that didn't make sense for us in a more rural community, and kind of crafted them specific for Harlan County Business Park. I gave them to Fred back in probably November. He had a chance to look at them. The only edit that he requested was to change the period of time for the right of repurchase. I had it at 24 months. We've moved that back to 12 months. I've also turned these into the Cabinet for Economic Development. In January, they've had a chance to review them, and they think that they're appropriate for what we're trying to do up there at the business park. At the end of the day, this just says, you know, you can't put a dollar store right in the middle of the industrial park, or like a grocery store kind of thing. It's dedicating a property for industrial developments that create jobs. Any other questions about them, or?
I think it's necessary. You know, we don't have a lot of land in Harlan County to develop a lot of stuff, specifically for economic development purposes. So, it's my opinion that these covenants are necessary to protect the property and to keep just anything from locating there. We want to be picky. We want it to be jobs that are going to be sustainable, good paying jobs for the future. So, be my recommendation that we follow the EDA's recommendation.
I would just add that this is not going to close down the golf course. They don't kind of go on for previous improvements, so this is just looking forward as we're looking to develop the property.
Correct, and it encompasses past time. Right. Correct. So, yeah, be my recommendation that the EDA's recommendation is approved. Motion by Sparky Milton, is there a second?
Thank you.
Second by Hall Brown, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good work, Colby. Item 28 is to reflect Bill Branham has resigned from the Sleepy Hollow Golf Course Board. Item 29, I'll make a motion to appoint Danny Cottle to fill the unexpired term of Bill Branham, expiring January 14th, 2023, and it's just been unexpired. Second by Bill Moore.
Anybody who wants to do that?
Sparky will do it. Okay. Second by Sparky Milton. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 30, I make a motion to reappoint Stephen Hatfield to serve as a fire chief representative on the Harlan County E911 Advisory Board. Stephen is the chief of the Sunshine Fire Department, retroactive to May 14, 2019, for a 2-year term expiring May 14, 2021. Second by Jim Roddy. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 31 and 32 are companion kind of actions. Mr. Browning, Mr. King Crider, and Ms. Tracy Bailey and I met last week to talk about ways to expand our off-road park toward the Cumberland area. And how do we get trails extended from the existing park to Slope Hollow. Very productive conversations. We are asking today to apply for an RTP grant, Recreational Trails Program, for the Black Mountain Off-Road Adventure Park to extend trails. And I think that that park is one of our best tourist attractions, maybe the best in this region. And we feel like the ability to extend that really provides a lot of value for not only the park itself, but for the entire county from an entrepreneur perspective of what they would do to bring more visitors to other parts of the county. So item 31 would give us approval to apply for the grant for this purpose.
Make a motion.
Motion by Paul Browning, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Clark Middleton, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 32 would be to approve the RTP grant resolution, and I'll read that if I can find it here.
I didn't realize that conversation yesterday, it's an 80-20, so it's
Yes.
actually very much in their favor.
Yeah.
Any funds that would be coming from them.
Whereas the Harlan County Fiscal Court proposes to develop recreational resources to provide for the health and well-being of the general public, and whereas the Harlan County Fiscal Court intends to make application to the Department of Recreational Trails Program grant funds from the Commonwealth of Kentucky Department of Local Government to undertake eligible activities under the FHWA Recreational Trails Program, and whereas the Recreational Trails Program is limited to funding a maximum of 80% of the proposed project cost estimated, and I've estimated to go for the maximum, which is $250,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the Harlan County Fiscal Court hold in reserve 20% of the proposed project cost, which would be $50,000 if we were awarded, for the purpose of matching the Rec Trails Program grant fund assistance, and be it further resolved that in the event the grant is awarded, Harlan County Fiscal Court understands that it will sign assurances to comply with all applicable federal and state laws, rules, and regulations, especially those that relate to the Civil Rights Act and Section 504 of the 1973 Rehabilitation Act. Entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion.
Motion by Paul Running, seconded by Bill Moore. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 33 is the various reports as follows: treasurer, animal control, roads, bridges, recycling, solid waste, pride inmate work program, and solid waste enforcement floodplain. Anybody have any questions about those? Not entertain a motion to approve them. Motion by Bill Moore, is there a second? Second by James Howard, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Forward to go to item 34. I just want to go back to kind of where we started today, realizing that the situation with this pandemic. And I just ask people I just can't reemphasize enough the importance of doing what the recommendations are to do by the president and the governor. And like I said, we're going to be announcing some implementations here over the next little bit, but a gentleman I've come to know over the last few months shared something with me yesterday that I thought was very fruitful, and I appreciated him, his wisdom of the Bible, for sharing this with me. And I'm just going to read an excerpt of this. Furthermore, the argument can be made that self-quarantine measures were actually commanded by God as it pertained to certain diseases. See Leviticus chapter 13 and 14. Infected persons were not welcome into the camp and were commanded to warn others of their condition. Leviticus 13:45. Items of clothing worn by the infected persons were either washed or burned in the aforementioned chapters. The faithful Israelites would have not welcomed these people into the camp, nor would they have needlessly put themselves in danger by gathering in a location or with persons who may have had symptoms yet unseen. Why? Because it was common sense and God commanded it. I think that's very critical to remember. Jay Johns shared this with me yesterday, and I appreciated that. And if you'd like a copy of his entire, I think he's provided his this thing he has written to the newspapers and such to print. John, I'd be glad to email that to you if you all would consider running that. It's a very good piece on what people need to be thinking about as it relates to this, and why they shouldn't gather and assemble in this time to protect themselves. And references some very good scripture, I think, on this particular issue. So just be smart, be wise, and listen to the guidance that's shared.
Right.
With that, I will make a motion to exit to executive session to discuss both personnel and potential litigation. Do I have a second? Second by Bill Moore. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Section KRS 6184, section 1, subsection F for personnel, KRS 6184, section 1, subsection C for litigation.